We're back with another tactical clinic, and today it is Bassy Boy's Freedom Cry 244. It's going to be slightly different today. I'm only going to show you the results with Plymouth, as you can see on screen, and then we're going to have the creator of the tactic himself talking you through his tactic, the history of the tactic, how it's developed over time and how it works. So we'll get straight into this, and as you can see, in the Carabao Cup we've been knocked out in the second round by Portsmouth, and in the FA Cup we've been knocked out by Premier League Aston Villa. In terms of the league, we were predicted to get relegated, but we've managed to finish in mid-table in 13th place. We'll take a look at the league table in more detail. We can see here we have won 18 games, drawn 8, lost 20, 62 points. So overall, 23 points below the playoff positions, unfortunately, but we are massively above the drop, which is where they thought we would be. We'll take a look at the data hub. We can see we have scored 1.46 goals per game, slightly below what we were expected to score, but we can see quite a few goals with this side, unfortunately. Taking a look at the team report, we can see Ryan Hardy, the Scotsman, as you would expect, 14 goals from him, and then there's a bit of a drop off to Morgan Whittaker with 9, and then the usual lot of players chipping in here and there. In terms of the assists, you can see Ballymumba, the left back, left midfielder, left winger, chipping in with 12, and Luke Gundle, the central midfielder, with 10. We'll take a look through just some of the fixtures, get a little idea of how this tactic plays. So we actually started really well, winning our opening 4 games, including the cup game against Peterborough, before losing 4-0 to Birmingham, and then we went in a bit of a bad patch here. But then it does look as if things pick up again until towards the kind of January time, and then from there it was just hit and miss, winning a game, drawing a few, losing a couple, just as you would expect probably from Plymouth, unfortunately. But 13th place has been a pretty good result for this side, with Ryan Hardy scoring the 12 goals. As you can see, 14 goals in all competitions. No caps for Scotland yet, but I think he will be going to the Euros with Scotland if he continues to score goals in real life. So now we will just cut ahead and we will take you to Bassy Boy, who will explain his tactic from the moment he created it right the way through to where he is now in his save, and you will see the tactical changes as this goes, and you'll see the tactic that got Plymouth this mid-table finish.
Hello everybody, my name is Bassy Boy, and I am the creator of the tactic that you are currently seeing on the Sorted Out SI video. So, I wanted to take you guys along on my journey throughout my tactic. I am currently playing on a save in French Guiana, and the goal of this was to win the Champions League. So, obviously we came from a far way down the ladder, basically. So I had to be very creative with how my tactic was going to work. And as you can see right now, this is the very first iteration of it. It is a pretty attack-oriented system with a sweeper keeper to support the ball-playing defender. And I will kind of show you how this came to fruition and how I thought about it. And I think the most interesting way to start is to look at the striker. It's an advanced forward. I want him to basically just be up here, roam around a lot, and just make those runs. Be the intelligent striker. Of course, we didn't have these players when the tactic was first created. I mean, that was back in 2025. So, I mean, that's 11 years ago now in game. So we would have an inverted winger, and the idea with him was that he would kind of stay here in this position. Well, the trequartista was kind of operating as like a second striker, arriving late into the box, so he would often operate on that place. The advanced playmaker would then shuffle up here, be kind of in this general area, with the volante offering a later third entry into the edge of the box. The reason why I went with 2 complete wingbacks is because otherwise we're too exposed. That was it. So I wanted them to be able to offer support in areas that was around here. Well, obviously, what you need then is wingbacks with a lot of stamina, with a lot of determination, with a lot of, physical attributes. And that really made it click in the first sort of half of the save. Now, the 2 liberos were interesting because they would then shuffle up as DMs, because they would, due to the nature of the role, they would kind of anticipate on, okay, we can shuffle up now, we can sweep, we can do libero things. And then obviously you have a ball-playing defender and a sweeper keeper who will kind of operate on that way naturally. So the way this works was that they had a very dynamic system, and if needed, the right libero, he would just stay as a libero. He would just stay back as a second defender, while the other one would take a bit more risk. So it was very adaptable, and it was very solid domestically. in the Coupe de France, it was kind of tough and it was kind of finicky. It was very leaky in a way. And that's because it was very attacking focused. Let me just quickly undo them. Let's just do it manually then real quick. Okay, so when we look at this, you can also see that we have a very high press. We are staying on our feet. And we generally wanted to have a lower tempo because it's a possession-based system. We would average, I think it was 650 passes domestically. And then we would also average about 700 in the Coupe de France. So it was a very good system at the start. Then I started to think, okay, we're getting better players in right now. We are coming to a point where we are competing in Europe. We're winning the Coupe de France every year, almost. Or at least we would reach the semi-final at the very least. So I'm allowed to take a bit more risk. And I think you can see that very well in the rules. I mean, I still have the trequartista here. But instead of a ball-playing defender and two liberos, I've changed up to a regista, who would kind of drop in between this pocket here to offload both the libero and the ball-playing defender. On top of that, I also have two inverted wingbacks, who will essentially, again, because he will be a second striker, so he will come in there. Then Esteve will go there. And then essentially, you're forming this possible fourth libero in this pocket of space. So they will operate in this area. So we had very short passing lanes. And the reason why I went with a goalkeeper on defend here in this situation is because I felt with the sweeper keeper, he would be too error prone. Let me just quickly change these back to how they were. Back to the volante and as such. And this is also the point where I started to tinker a little bit more with personal instructions. A lot of the instructions for the shadow striker, for the trequartista, and for the right and left wing backs have been changed due to change of personnel. But you would still see here we have a dribble less, work ball into the box. I want to feed off those. I want to overlap on the left. He used to be a complete wingback, and then I wanted to have the underlap. And this is interesting because when I triggered the pressing trap to trap inside, I immediately saw a defensive improvement. We were going from conceding 2 or 3 on average to 0.3 domestically again. In the Coupe de France it was a little bit more, and in the Europa League it was also a little bit higher. But that is due to the quality of the players that we were facing. So this was a sort of second iteration, and I haven't really stuck on this one too long because it ultimately changed into this. And this is sort of the final shape for the dual libero that I had in mind, because we are getting such superior numerical advantages in every area of the pitch that I can allow my team to play exclusively with roles that, you know, they're very free. So for the volantes, for example, Van de Beek is actually a striker normally, but I retrained him to be a segundo volante because with his arrivals into the box and with the complete wingback in that same position, I would often find that he would score a lot of goals. I have a complete forward because I wanted to tussle into the duels. So when we analyze this, I have two volantes who will add up, but they will also be presences in the pressing in the midfield. Again, still the trequartista will find it there. And Yamal actually used to be a Raumdeuter. And that is because I found it was very inconsistent, the Raumdeuter, because he would often have really good games or really poor games, but he would always find the pocket of space. So it's alternating a bit on match basis. So as for the winger, what I often see is that Yamal goes in here, he delivers across to Blaise, but Wawa is always there to pick up the second ball. Meanwhile, Renato switches off to the side, Lob comes into the defensive midfield, Nisama also does it, and on rare occasion that Renato also joins this pocket of the area, you have Nisama who shuffles in there and Pereira who shuffles in there. But if it's needed, Lob will also go back to his original position. So there is a lot of dependency on intelligence in this system, but it works. It works so well. And at this point, I also chose to get the sweeper keeper back because it was really funny. Let me show you an actual game when he was still on defend. I'll be right back. So for example, in this cup match against US Makuria, you can see how the system essentially revolves around the number 6, so Renato, the regista. I mean, this heat map is hilarious for one. But you can see that we always have at least 5 players in the attacking third. But the number 5 and the number 4, so Nisama and Pereira, they will also kind of pull inside if need be. In this case, there was little threat because they are a second division team and we won it the past 13 years. So it wasn't really a contest, but the reason why I changed from a goalkeeper to a sweeper keeper is because of this. You don't see any passing lanes. He's just passively on the center circle. So I would often find that if they would come in behind, it would be an issue. And what I want to show you now is some of the results from this season after I've implemented these tactical changes, because they were tweaks. We are this team, CSC de Cayenne, and if you look at our passing map, there's a lot of structure. I think that speaks for itself. This was a match against Lille in the Coupe de France, and look at these statistics. We just completely, they didn't stand a chance at all. I mean, we had 790 passes completed. We have 76% possession. They just weren't allowed to play football. So it was a very good change. But then against Southampton in the Champions League, again, we kept a clean sheet. And here you would see it too. 58% possession against 42, close to 700 passes completed, and an XG of 3.65. You can again see a lot of possessional structure around the defenders and the number 6. The number 6 is an outlay to every single player on the pitch. Then Valencia. Ignore the 3 goals we got clowned on us, because the keeper made an own goal and he made a blunder, I think, too. But here again, number 4. A lot of passing with the number 6. 761 passes completed, 68% possession. Right? It's dominance. And another match I want to highlight is against Lyon. It was a 7-1 victory. In the Coupe de France, it was the 11th round, so the round of 16. Look at this. 70% possession, 700 passes completed, again, against Lyon, which is just, it's one of the best teams in France. And again, center backs, number 6, passing distribution. And the final match I want to show you is against Juventus. This was in the round of 16 second leg. We were 2-2 in the Allianz Arena, I think it is, or the Allianz Stadium, at least at Juventus. And they came to our stadium and we just completely demolished them. They didn't stand a single chance. In this match, Yamal was actually played as a Raumdeuter, as you can see here by the number 10. Again, complete domination. 63% possession, 4 XG, 600 passes against 350, which is it's incredible. We almost concede no fouls because of the way that I wanted to have set up, and that is, of course, a higher defensive line, higher press. I want us to stay on our feet, and I want us to trap inside. So yeah, that is kind of the idea behind this tactic. It is fascinating how much I can achieve with a system that is very flexible, that is very dependent on intelligent players. And I just had a lovely time chatting about this. So yeah, thanks for having me sorted out, SI. And hopefully some of you can try this tactic and have the same success with it as I have. So yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
So there we have it for the tactical clinic today. That was Bassy Boy's Freedom Cry. As always, if you would like your tactic reviewed on the channel, you can either do it the normal way, where I just simulate it a few times or discuss the tactic, or you can even submit your own recording and I'll fix it in a video and you'll be able to explain the tactic yourself. Please excuse the lighting, I've still not actually bought my lights, but as always, please like, share and subscribe to the video, and we will see you next time.